Good evening everyone, I'm Victoria Beale and welcome to the very first episode of NTV Unscripted. Today we're going to be interviewing an amazing unsung hero who won BBC Sports Personality of the Year Award Unsung Hero back in 2010. Now, this theme today is celebrating our unsung heroes. There are plenty of them in the world, but even more poignant with everything that's going on. So I wish you well, enjoy our show today. Please do phone in, ask any questions you want. This is your show made for you. So let me welcome my very first guest to my lovely studio, Mr. Lance Haggith, founder of Sports Trader. Lance, how are you today?
Very good, Vicky. Thank you very much, and thank you for inviting me to your first show. It's a great honour and be your first guest, and I hope I don't disappoint.
No, you certainly won't. You've had lots of media training, I believe, which you'll find out about soon enough, guys.
So bear with us.
Bear with us. So, Lance, let's start from the very beginning before we talk about this amazing charity you've built, which is actually working directly with the Home Office in the UK, and we're hoping to go global. Tell us about the early days. Where were you born? And let's start with your early career.
I was born just north of London in Watford. I'm one of 4 children, and a very, very happy family, and very warm, and I can't complain at all. It was a great childhood.
I think my producer has some nice photographs of you as a young child that he'll be showing everyone at home.
Okay.
But just an amazing, just normal upbringing, basically.
Yeah, very much. Yeah.
Fantastic. Now tell us about your sort of early career. I think there was some interesting points there, the Polytechnic and so on.
It started off with, I suppose, I didn't feel I was academic. I liked sport, and I liked art, and I persevered doing both. And some students or kids, they're in every sport. When they're in school, they're in the football team, the basketball team, and all that. And I loved that. But I just had a feeling I wanted to do something in art, and so I persevered, and then I thought, well, when it came to O-levels, that shows you how old I am.
What are they?
Yeah.
I'm joking.
Currently GCSEs to the younger viewers. It was one of those situations where I excelled in certain subjects, but I really did enjoy. My passion was art, and then I felt when it came to A-levels I wanted to do art, and then I didn't know what to do in art, so I did a foundation course at St Albans at in St Albans, and the Hertfordshire College of Art and Design it was, and then I tried all sorts from jewellery to fashion, graphics, but it was the fashion section that I felt there was something, and I entered a competition and won it, and I thought, oh, maybe I've got a bit of a talent in that, and that led me on to say, right, I want to do fashion, and so I went to Harrow, the Polytechnic Harrow, to do HND and diploma course, and then while I was there, I felt I was looking at it in a slightly different way to other students. I wanted to look at it as a business, so not being unkind to other students, so that there's thousands going for the same job at the end of the, when you finish your...
Still the same today.
Yeah, so I thought I have to just give myself a bit of an edge. I thought the only way I can do that is to actually get some work experience. So I felt, what do I do? How do I do that? So I asked companies. I said, during my summer holidays, I went and worked for companies. So I said, it won't cost you anything. Maybe if you can cover my expenses, but I can come with fresh ideas and try me out for a week or 2 weeks. And one of the companies was called Hoofer, which is a high grade or high jeans brand.
And what age would you have been around this time?
18.
Right, so it's quite a plucky thing for an 18-year-old to do, isn't it?
Yeah, I just thought I had to get experience, so that's what I did. I went and I created some designs, got on well with the design team, it was very successful. It ended up, my designs were the most successful, so they kept say come back, and then I went back, worked at holidays and Christmases, always in the company. Then I got some media interests. I was in newspapers with my collections and stuff. So that gave me that additional skill set to actually go out into the what I was going to do is go out in the industry and say, well, look, they always ask, you know, you got your qualifications, but what experience have you got? So I thought, this is the key. I can now say, this is what I've done. This is, and you know, the media attention proved it. And in my last year, I thought, well, you know, maybe try and set a company up myself. So
right. Wow.
Much to the annoyance and to the teachers and the college, well, they just didn't want me to do it. They just said, look, no, you can't. How can you do successfully a course and also do you know, your business? And I said, I like people to challenge me, and I thought, right, I'm going to show them. And we're talking quite a few years ago, and we're talking 40 odd years ago. I passed, I qualified, and but I also turned over 90,000 in my first year.
Wow.
So
what year was that, Lance?
82.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
So,
well done.
So yeah. So and the other thing is, I wanted to stand out. You get this. We were lucky. We're fortunate being at Harrow, but that our end of year show was at the Cafe Royal. So it's a fantastic place, and I just wanted to again stand out with my collection and you know, against with the other students, and I specialised in leather. So the catwalk was there, and I thought, well, I'm doing leather, so I need the music, appropriate music, and I wanted a smoke machine. And I thought, well, how the hell do I get a smoke machine? So in those days, it was basically a big boiler and dry ice. So I'd go to a butcher's, get the dry ice, put it in there.
Oh my goodness.
And then it all. But the effect was very good.
Yes.
And then again, I made the papers.
That was your creativity.
My creativity.
Yeah.
And my step into leather, which was my first company. So I set up creating high-end leather garments with. I had a great support from Beryl Norgate, who was actually one of the teachers at Harrow, and we literally had a bit of a break because Motley Music liked what we did and what I did, and on their books was Alison Moyet, Paul Young, the old CBS music and all that, and then that got us into making for many pop stars of that era, you know, from George Michael to something span about anything that was leather tended to be. It came to us,
fantastic,
which is a great
story.
Yeah.
Fantastic. What a great story that is. It'll inspire so many people watching today as well.
Just got to go for your dream.
Just got to go for it. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, in terms of obviously where we are now with the Sports Trader charity, how did that concept come to you? When did you decide to devote your life to helping disabled and disadvantaged children?
Yeah, that's quite a big jump.
It is a jump, yeah, but we need to know.
Yeah, true. I think I've always, as I mentioned, very passionate about sport. I've got 4 kids as well, and they were 3 boys and a girl. The boys, I would say, more interested in sport. My daughter was not as interested, she's more interested in arts and theatre and that sort of stuff. But I always wanted to make sure that they had all the opportunities, that is, whether standing on the touchline on a Saturday morning in the freezing cold, supporting them, to making sure they had the right equipment and the right opportunities. It could be football boots or even more specialist equipment for more difficult sports. But that's because I know how positive it is playing sport, and you find that youngsters that play sport turn out to be well-rounded young adults. So as time went on, the 2 of mine went to Loughborough. The other one went to Southampton because he liked sport, but he liked also media and camera work, etc., etc. So they all followed their dreams, all played to a high level in basketball, and it got to a point when they were older, and they would sort of then after sort of coaching, I was coaching them and various things, that they were then at Loughborough, and they were into colleges and teams, national teams, and that took over the coaching. So I was then thinking, right, maybe I can still use my skill set to coach and help youngsters that were not so fortunate. And it was a particular time when we were coaching. I was providing the sport, my partner was providing the beauty and care for young carers, and I noticed a lot of these young carers, maybe they're looking after a disabled mum or a relative or whatever, were coming with not appropriate footwear. Maybe just they all only had school shoes, and I thought there must be a way that we need training shoes, and those of you who have children, you know how quickly they grow out of items of clothing and footwear, and there's still plenty of life in them. And I was thinking there must be a way we can scoop all this product up and give it to kids that can't afford it, to give them the same opportunities. And it was endorsed by a couple of brothers that were going every other week to football because they're showing one pair of boots, and which meant one of the youngsters had to put newspaper into in order to make it fit. So we gave them a free pair of football boots, and they both go at the same time.
Fantastic.
And that's the simple fix. And then from there, this little seed of the idea, as you know, got accelerated, and I had no vision that 13 years on that we'd be national and help thousands over the years to go on to play for Great Britain, represent the country, won in the Premier League, world champion, and loads of kids that learnt to swim.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to be taking a commercial break soon, but just before, what can we expect in the second section of our interview? Because we're talking about how this charity has basically gone viral all over the internet, and talking about this fantastic award that you won at the BBC Sports Personality of the Year, where things really changed for you, didn't it? Yeah,
it certainly, as embarrassing as it was, it certainly opened up the doors and raised my profile, but it raised the awareness, was what I was trying to do. And I've got a few things up my sleeve that will I'll be naming and shaming some people that haven't supported us on our journey, but maybe not the names, but I'll tell you why.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we look forward to hearing more about Lance's story in the next section of this show. We are about to take a commercial break very, very soon. Just before we do though, is there anyone that you would like to say hello to or shout out while you're here with us today? Say thank you to, just before we cut to our commercial break.
Obviously, very grateful to my family and support, because I have put a lot of effort into and time into the charity for obvious reasons. So maybe I have been a bit absent in certain times and that, but I do thank everybody that supported me, because through the years, because I couldn't have achieved what I've done had it not been for the team, the unsung heroes behind me. Because there's me. I remember the first day thinking about this charity. I was sitting there with the table and thinking, this is what I want, and this is what I need to go, and this is what I want to do. How am I going to do it? And I want more people to help me. And we're now.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Lance, so much. I look forward to seeing you guys join us back in the second section. Now we're going to take a commercial break. Welcome back to NTV Unscripted. We're totally live from our beautiful London studios, and I'm here today with our special guest, Lance Haggith, founder of Sports Trader. So if you missed the first section, don't worry, because the second is going to be even more interesting. So Lance, we were just talking about the charity and what kind of gave you that inspiration to create something from seeing kids who weren't able to wear the right footwear, for example, and it sparked your emotions. Let's follow on from that and let's kind of elaborate.
It's what's so nice is that it's for such a simple fix. how a difference you can make to young people, whether they're disabled or disadvantaged. If they're given the right equipment and the right footwear or the right wheelchair or the right prosthetic leg, you know, a lot of these young people get aspirations and dreams. They see the Paralympics. You remember how amazing that was. You know, even now when I watch the events, it's so exciting, exhilarating, because you're watching sport, not disability. And but how do these young people access facilities? You know, because you know, one, it's maybe a cost prohibitive, because a wheelchair can be, well, adapted for a specific sport. It could be £1,000, could be £10,000 for the race ones, or it's like miles away. You know, I know young people who want to play tennis. They see the success we have in disability at Wimbledon in the wheelchair category, but they look, they search, and it's like 2 or 3 hours away.
That's right.
So I was just thinking, right, you know, there's a big job to be done here, and am I up for the task? But I want to beat the drum. I want to get people to help me, and I want to make those dreams come true.
Yes.
And you know, that could be getting sponsors to sponsor a wheelchair so that they can access the sport, or it could be simply asking for old kits, old stock from brands, from public.
It saves on wastage as well.
Absolutely, because you know,
the landfill.
The environment. That's the big thing that everybody seems to forget, is, you know, how much gets put into the ground. And when we're talking footwear, in particular, a lot of the footwear now is plastic. The football boots are plastic. In my day, were leather, which does break down. But plastic, we know the problems and the environmental problems with plastic. It's horrendous. It's hundreds of years. But some big brands, probably, you know, without naming them, still insist of putting them in the ground. You know, and it's disgusting. It's terrible. Morally, I think it's wrong from an environmental point of view. But also, give me that product, and I can then give it to young people to realise their dreams. You know, you might have loads of money, but you know, think. Just have a little think, and think about who you can help, and think about the environment. You'll be shocked at how many companies are just putting it in the ground. Some of them are getting better. You know, I'm out there and I've got a voice, I'm bashing the ground. I'll say, give me this product. I don't mind. I'll put a little stud on it to show it's a community engagement product. Yes. Feel good about that. Don't feel about the bottom line. You know, my life has been in sports, as you know, and I've run companies, sports companies, and I know we have an excess. You know, because you've always got seasons, and the next season comes along, and then the next season comes along. What do you do with the old stuff? That's right. I would be so much happier knowing that it's benefiting someone if we can put that product in an appropriate place, and make a difference to these young people. So that's a big thing in my book, anyway, as you know. And that's how it's all started, because obviously it went from trying to put together something that was going to help the environment, was going to help the kids, and putting everything together, pieces of the jigsaw together. So that leads me to our next question. When did you find a facility, open the shop, and start to... Well, first one was in Bedford. And it was I was determined to get a shop. We know there's loads of empty shops, so you know, it's much nicer to have a shop that's doing something, not only from what it delivers, but actually from its look and the high street. Nothing looks worse than loads of empty shops. It does, yes. You know, and if you're providing a service like we are, as our sports shops, I was the first person in the whole world to come up with a charity sports shop. That's a shop that's just purely sports. And it's not all second hand, is it? No. There's some stuff in that's completely brand new. Yeah. Well, we're really grateful to, you know, companies like Pentland and you know, Regatta, and loads of companies that just give us their old stock and support what we're about. because if it's old stock or it's returns, it might be out of date, but when children have got nothing, we can give them something, and to achieve their dreams and their goals, their aspirations that other children are achieving. So yes, you have the new, and then you have the second hand. We talk to schools. We have like a mufti day. I don't know whether that terminology is everywhere, but it's a non-uniform day.
Non-uniform day, yeah.
And we get the children to bring in unwanted sportswear equipment, and then we collect it in and we redistribute it. And through the years, BBC have been very supportive of what I do,
yes.
and we did a couple of projects, Reclaim Sport, a few years ago, and more recently, Kit Out the Nation.
Yeah.
Basically, the idea is a similar idea to what I came up with. It's just getting that unwanted sportswear and equipment and redistributing it, and you can see the results and the effects on YouTube. They're out there.
The family comes into the shop when they need to kit out their kids for school. They can buy everything. What kind of, just give us a flavour of what they can find in those shops.
Basically, it's a sports shop. If you look at our sports shop, we funny enough, we had a shop in the Into Shopping Centre. Our second one was in Watford, in the Into Shopping Centre. So we had this fantastic shop. No way could we afford the rent of hundreds of thousands and the rates and everything. But Watford, very supportive. The council were very supportive, gave us full rate mitigation, and Into were fantastic. They gave us a lovely shop, and we were opposite Sports Direct, and Foot Locker a little bit further down, and our windows looked smart, and we had some fantastic brands, Canterbury, Kickers. Oh, it was really good. And Sports Direct had 70% off, closing down, slashed, all hand brushed all over the front. We were known as the posh sports shop. The people came into us, even the staff of Sports Direct came into us, because our stuff was not only good, but it was also cheap.
It was so well presented in the shops as well.
And that's really important to me. I don't want people to think, oh, it's a charity shop. Not being unkind to charity shops, because most do a really great job.
They do.
But if you want a pair of football boots or a pair of training shoes, you don't want to rummage through lampshades and jumpers and books. You want to go to that particular specific area.
Yeah.
And we say, and my philosophy has always been from day one, help us to help your community. Because the profit that's generated in there goes back out to the community.
That's right.
To give opportunities.
Yes.
So it's a it's a win-win.
It is.
And kids that can't afford it, we give it to them free. Yeah. So, the model works really, really well.
It does.
And we've helped lots of children who've had nothing come through. Plus also, we give opportunities of employment and training to young people with all additional needs.
Yes.
Cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, cancer, deaf.
Yeah.
And if we had 2 or 3 hours, I could give you some fantastic examples. But at the end of the day, it's what's great. I'll give you one example. I had a young lady who got cerebral palsy text me to say, guess what, I've sold £78 all by myself today. So she's gone home buzzing. She's like, amazing. In a normal business, you'd think, that's not quite good enough. Yeah. But for her,
it was a big achievement.
Yeah, we're all about outcome, not income.
Very good, very good.
So that's where we want. The model has accelerated, and with the help of Home Office and various other bodies,
and we'll come on to that in the next part of the show. If anyone watching at home now wants to know where these shops are, where's the best place to find them?
Our website, sportstrader.com, has the shops listed. We're currently opening almost a shop a month, next being Leeds, and then probably Newcastle after that. But the sportstrader.com, hopefully they'll put it up, because we misspell trader We have aid in the middle, so traders, TRAIDER, so sportstrader.com.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to be taking another commercial break, would you believe, very soon.
Yeah.
Can you believe how quickly we're getting through this interview? I could listen to you for hours, I must admit. We're going to come back and talk about all these amazing other things that you've done with the charity, but also the big missions, and we've got something fabulous to tell our guests at home, which I can't wait to reveal. Let's just briefly touch on the Sports Personality of the Year Awards. So BBC, they called you, they said you're nominated. Just quickly tell us about that, and then we'll cut to our break.
How long we got?
I'd say about a minute.
Okay. Yeah, it was very what's the word? I suppose I wasn't
Flattering.
expecting it.
Yeah.
And I wasn't doing this for any rewards. It was, but I can't thank BBC enough for that award.
Because your life changed after that, Lance, didn't it? And the landscape for the charity.
Without a doubt. And you know, it's very embarrassing. But people stop you in the street, and even now, I've had people on the train. I've in Sainsbury's, and sometimes they say I recognise you, and you're on TV, and they think I'm a newsreader or something. but I don't care. You know. But at the end of the day. It's nice to be recognised, but with my profile, it's enabled me to use it in a positive way, and also a lot more young people have got in touch because they know that I'm accessible. So, and I'll tell you a bit more about how my celebrity friends have helped me and helped my situation, and when my son got ill, I can tell you about that as well.
Absolutely, yeah, we'll love to hear that story.
Yeah.
So just before we cut to our commercial break, if you want to call the number which will appear on the screen throughout the interview, please do call us. You can ask Lance or myself any questions you wish, and we look forward really to our next section of the show. We'll be talking about Jump for Health. We'll be talking about a world record attempt. We'll be talking about events that Lance has done in the past at the O2 and some amazing projects anyone can get involved with, businesses and participants.
Hopefully. Just come and join us, get involved. We've got a lot more children to help. Fantastic.
So I think on that note, we will be cutting to our commercial break very, very soon. Lance, again, is there anyone, now we're sort of talking a bit freer, on the shop side? We're going to be cutting to a break very soon, so I'll tell you that when we get back. Thank you. Welcome back to NTV Scripted, and I'm here with our lovely guest today, our Sports Personality of the Year Unsung Hero winner, 2010, Lance Haggith, and founder of Sports Trader. So we've just been talking about, before the break, we were talking about this award. And so it was BBC Sports Personality of the Year Award, Unsung Hero 2010. I remember you won the award. Linford Christie presented you, didn't he? Yeah, Amir Khan. And just tell us about how life changed at that point. That was quite a pivotal milestone, wasn't it?
Yeah, I suppose that was the catalyst, not the catalyst, the catalyst that accelerated the whole project and the charity, because before then it was very localised, and I was all about collecting in from the local schools this unwanted sportswear and then just redistributing it locally. But the fact that you suddenly then got exposure and more people ringing and more people contacting saying, how can you help my daughter or my son, and it was quite eye-opening, and I'm thinking, again, I see problems and I work out how can I solve the problem. You know, what's needed to fix this? What do you need to do? And I thought, right, I need to use my voice to get more people to engage in it, and in order to do that, we also needed support from businesses and people to keep us sustainable as well, because obviously, you know, say a young person wants to join a club, there's a fee, £60 a month or whatever, or they want to buy a wheelchair, but it has to have protective barriers if it's wheelchair, rugby or basketball, or a prosthetic leg, which is more like a blade, because the NHS leg is not fit for purpose. So in order for those young people to be able to play with their friends, go and kick a ball or whatever, there's cost involved.
Of course.
So, you know, I'm always looking for ways to raise revenue, and okay, the shops do that in a quite a good way, although not enough, and also it's more for localised.
Yeah.
So we do rely on great support from companies and
You've just
individuals.
relaunched your business club, haven't you? What's that? Just tell us quickly about that.
Yeah, it's called the One Club, and basically it's we've got some fantastic supporters already, big companies and small companies. We ask for a donation of minimum £1,500 a year, and some give us more. And what it means is that any donation to a charity is tax deductible. So, you know, especially this time of the year, you're coming up to the end of your financial year, and you're thinking, right, I've got to be paying this amount across to the tax man. Think about if I donated something, you're going to feel better in yourself, and it's not really costing you anything. You're just paying less tax.
Yeah.
So why? It's a no-brainer. But you'd be surprised how many people can't get their head around that. So they only have to speak to their accountant to know how it's worked, so how it's done. But you know, every penny we have, it's redistributed correctly.
Yes.
And you know, we certainly wouldn't have relationships with these big companies. We had John Lewis from day one, still Pentland from day one, Marshalls from Milton Keynes, fantastic supporters, Wixom supporters. Yeah. More recently, Amazon, and they, you know, people say, how can I help? Well, those kind of companies can help in by just doing the donations and being part of the One Club. And then we get together every now and again, members of the One Club, and it's a networking thing as well as sort of talking about the positives of charity. Well,
my producers just told me, thank you for that, Lance, that we have our first caller phoning in live. So please do go ahead. Caller number 1. Hello? Hello? Can I hear you?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Hello, how are you?
Yes,
you're live on there.
Bengali.
Now, who would you like to ask a question to?
I just want to speak to you Bengali.
I don't think we've got a very good connection. Just tell my producer. Could you repeat that, please? Oh, we've lost him.
No worries.
All right, sorry about that.
No worries.
Maybe he'll call back. But if you're watching, sorry about that. We must continue with our interview because we are actually coming shortly to a close, would you believe? There's so many more things to talk about as well. So
the One Club's guest, definitely, you know, all your businesses out there, entrepreneurs, you know, when you're coming up to the end of your financial year, or you feel you want to do something, because our charity has gone on from just not only selling and redistributing unwanted sports equipment. We're very big now in mental health. We use sport to conquer mental health issues. So kids with anxiety or depression, we very much use sport. And for some examples, we've had girls, some as young as 7, self-harming. It's incredible. And we use things like skipping because it releases endorphins when they skip. We use other things like, one young lady liked horse riding, so we put her into a horse riding school for disabled. So the horse is very placid and non-judgmental. But all these areas are really, really important to help, you know, these young people get through their dark times and anxiety. So, you know, think about how you can help. And I know it's very difficult currently with what's going on in the world, but there's still problems going on here, and we need support. Oh,
that's a great little pitch there, and I'm sure NTV will support Sports Trader now moving forward, definitely. It's a great charity, Lance. I mean, this, as you say, these types of shops, we can't find them anywhere else in the world. No. And what's the plan for the rest of this year in the future? How many shops are we looking at?
We're probably going to be up to about 20.
Right.
But we need to, the plan going forward is one in every major town across the country, because then the reach is going to be quite significant. Because there is, even in most affluent towns, there's always the problem area, there's always the, we've dealt with areas of high deprivation where antisocial behaviour is rife, gangs are rife, and we put in a project. It could be basketball, it could be boxing. Antisocial behaviour drops because they can go free, and also once they're part of a team, they feel like they're belonging somewhere, and it's also a good excuse to give others, would you want to come out and do this? And they say, no, I'm training, because we also, we don't want them to let their team down.
No.
So, I've always said, this is sort of a gang, but it's a good gang. It's a sports
positive
gang.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and because of that, we have had the attention of the Home Office.
I was just going to ask you about this. Yeah.
And they really love what we do, and who we help, and we have ex-offenders in our programme. So obviously ones that aren't, threat to vulnerable adults and that, but more related to drugs and fulfilling their habits, like shoplifting, stealing cars, that sort of stuff. But we've had such a high success rate. We have very few reoffending, which is amazing for this day and age. But the great thing is, it's turning their lives around. And I've had some fantastic letters from mums and dads and partners saying, what difference you made to my young person's life or husband's life, whatever.
Yeah. Oh, and the stuff that you've been doing during lockdown, we've got 4 minutes till the end of this show, would you believe? So you'll have to come back again, I'm afraid. But let's just talk about quickly what you did during lockdown. Was absolutely phenomenal what you did there. We can just briefly talk about that, and then we'll talk about this amazing thing that we can't say too much about, but we can sort of whet the appetite slightly.
Well, touching on the positive of skipping, we found it during lockdown. I'm the sort of person that comes up with ideas and try and find a way in which to solve it. And I knew how effective skipping was. We know that from boxers and well-known boxers who said they had anxiety issues and mental health issues, and they've used skipping and boxing to alleviate the problems. So I thought of an idea called Jump for Health, and I wanted it to be like a viral thing where it's sort of replicated around the world, get people skipping and saying they're jumping for health, and then nominate 2 or 3 people. And I've had some great, and I've got my celebrity friends involved, from Joe Swash to Monty Panesar and Martin Fire, great guys to just to do their bit, skip. Mike Bushell, who won, he was in Strictly, and he was also a BBC presenter. And I just wanted to get more and more people. What happened was, which is ironic, is there's this thing called the jump rope community out there, and the great thing is they're fantastic. Some of them love talking about their life and how they've come from a dark place and how skipping has helped them. So it's really positive. When you're skipping, it releases endorphins. It's you go out breath. You've got to concentrate because you don't want to trip up. There's a rhythmic beat. So after about 2 minutes, if you're feeling anxious, and we say to these young people that are feeling that, we just say, please grab a skipping rope rather than a knife or a pair of scissors, and try it, and just skip. And then we then get the jump rope community, some members of the jump rope community, to do videos and exchange tips and that, and it's been so successful that yes, Jump for Health was very good.
Well, let's fast forward because we've got 1 minute to go.
No problem. So this year, and we're going for a world record again, involving a skipping rope. Details maybe at a later show we'll release, but it's a very, very big event. BBC are interested and other TV channels are interested, so watch this space. But again, we're looking for sponsors, we're looking at headline sponsors, It will be an amazing event, trust me, and there'll be, on the day we'll have celebrity singers and stuff like that, so
fantastic.
Yeah, a day to remember, and it's later on this year.
So it's really easy to get in contact with Lance. If you want to use the number, the NTV number provided below the screen, you can get in contact with myself or Lance through there. Also, if you just remind us of the website and best way to connect with you, what would that be?
Go to the website, all the details are on there. So Sports Trader, sportstraider.com, and I'm sure the guys will put a strap line on or something, and any support, and as I say, everybody out there I know has either been affected by mental health or knows someone that's been affected by mental health, and it can be anything from self-harming, bulimia, eating disorders, or talking of suicide, and unfortunately some young people have committed suicide, so we need to give them support, we need to give them specialist help, and so please help us to help them.
Listen, Lance, it's been wonderful interviewing you, you've told me things I didn't know about you actually. And we've got 30 seconds to go. I've really enjoyed being your host today. I hope you've enjoyed watching. If you would like for us to bring on certain guests or talk about certain themes, please do get in touch with us here at NTV. We will see Lance soon, and thank you so much for watching. See you soon.